God, I think we're in business. All right, and then I got to get one more thing. I got to get you guys up on this screen. You guys were all quiet for a second. I thought I lost them. All right, Patrick's going to kill me because I'm going to be like, Patrick, I don't see them. Okay, hang out. We're going to swap this one out. I'm almost there. So what we've been trying to do, and this is what we kind of been struggling with, is we've been trying to go to a multi-camera platform. And sometimes it seems like we can do it, and sometimes it seems like we can't. And today was one of those can'ts. Let me get to my meetings. And I apologize to you guys. Cancel that. Launch meeting. And then join from the browser. This meeting is being recorded. And if you don't want to deal with these shenanigans, shut up the volume. Oh my goodness. How about now? Hey, Patrick. One more second. Patrick, can you help me, please?
Yeah.
I can't. Can you help me get this button here to work? I mean, he did them all and they worked, but I can't get that to come up. And so I'm getting feedback.
Meaning,
If they can hear us twice.
you have the
How do I get that off?
function lock on. There.
Thank you. When I'm stressed, I can't think, and that's why I have to call Patrick in to do the thinking for me. And let me get this camera up and ready on my phone. And then we're gonna spotlight this one. If I can find it on the keyboard. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Spotlight for everyone. We're gonna go gallery view. And Miss Rochelle, I can see you. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? And just give me a thumbs up. Awesome. Okay, I think we are set and ready to go. So although my camera looks a little dirty and I had my fingers on it, that's me just wiping it off the old-fashioned way with my shirt. I'm ready. I think we're ready. And I'm like, maybe we'll just go back to the way we've been doing it to make sure you guys don't have to sit through that. So we're going to be working on this. It's going to be the pinwheel, and it's absolutely adorable. I really didn't use the directions at all once I started because I find them almost confusing, the flip and fold and all of the pictures and all of the steps. We're basically going to do placement line. We're going to do put the fabric down. We're going to do the tack down and trim, and then we're going to flip and fold, and then just keep repeating. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go load my design because that should be working now. Where is it? Here it is. And I was doing design database transfer, but for some reason, you know why it wasn't working? Because our internet was down. So that was making me crazy. So this is our design right here. So you are going to be using this one, and I'm going to be doing it twice. I heard you guys talking about it being confusing, that it was confusing. Anna's nodding her head, and I didn't know what you were talking about. You know what? Let's just do one at a time. So I did it two at a time. Let's do it one at a time because it is confusing because you have to go, okay, which block is which block, which means we are going to rehoop into the 5x7. And I'm going to put a weight on this so it doesn't move around my filming arm. And I'm going to go into the 5x7 because yes, that can be confusing. For me, it was a little bit confusing too. And I heard somebody say, I hope she does it just the regular way. And now I know what you're talking about. I was like, I don't know what they're talking about, but now I do. Okay.
Jenny, that was me.
Was that you? Who was that? Cindy?
Cindy, yes.
Cindy, I'll do anything for you. If you were confused, other people were confused. So let's go ahead and we will do this in I might need some more muslin, but that's okay.
Thank you.
With
You're
these,
so sweet.
no worries. Like I think Anna was saying, it was confusing too. So, like I said, if you guys were confused, I'm sure everyone was confused, and you just have to look at it differently. Maybe even number it. You could do like a little pen just to number it, so you could do it all in one hooping. And some of you might not have that big old hoop anyway. So let's go ahead and we'll go 5x7. Gonna slide that back on. Here we go. I'm gonna put it over here. Lori, would you cut me a strip of muslin that's 10 inches? Yep, with the fabric. Yeah, I'll take 45. 45 works for me. All right, so now we're just going to do one at a time. So I'm going to go to my settings button. And the first thing I like to do is I like to pick my hoop size. So I'm going to go in here and I will get my 5x7. That's what I'm using. I like to check my settings. Your speed, I always do default, which would be 1050, but when you're using this magnetic hoop, it defaults you to a lower setting. So for the 5x7, I think it's 900. For the 7x12, I think it's 800, but I leave it on there. It'll automatically default for you. And then just make sure you're at your defaults, which will be in a black box. So 00 for tension, 0.06 for foot height, and make sure you're always ending for embroidery needle up because you don't need to pivot. So needle up, put on your embroidery foot down if you have that feature, and we're just going to say okay. This is the design we're putting in. That's going to be the piecing in the hoop. Go ahead and set it. And you're going to see it pretty much takes up that entire hoop. This is why you want to do it. It'll put the outline of your workspace. And I can just undo that. Thank you so much. All right, so we have our design. We're going to just touch embroidery. And then I always like to choose this button down here. And what that does is that allows you to forward and backward because you never know when you're going to have to do that. And it is showing you that it wants to do the bottom one first. I'm going to say okay. This is one design, so we can't color group. So it's going to do this part, and then we'll do the other part. Yes, it might have been confusing. So now we will make it not bummer. Been here, done that on pumpkins and potions. I'm not quite sure what we mean by that, done that on pumpkins and potions. Was it, yeah, not sure. I'm going to have my spray tan over here. And you were, you're responding to Linda. All right, as far as thread colors go, don't use a dark color because then it might show up in your seams. I'm going to just use peach. And you can use whatever color, but I'm going to use peach for the piecing here. Let me go ahead and thread up. I put in my Filtech bobbin. Make sure you're using, you can wind your own bobbins, but I say why do that? Just buy a box. Buy a box, buy a tube. You get more on your bobbin, and the perfect weight combination is going to be a little bit lighter in your bobbin than your upper. And let's go ahead and do our placement line. While it's doing its placement line, I'm going to come on over here, and this is my dime spray tint. And I'm going to go ahead and put in some of my, I don't know why, but I think it does get less sticky. So I'm not going to spray everything at once, but I'm going to do 2 bumblebees. I'm going to do 2 of the pink. And I'm going to do 2 of the peach. And if you don't like to spray, don't spray. I want you to do whatever makes your heart happy, okay? And then 2 of the peach. This doesn't have a right or the wrong side. You're spraying the wrong side of the fabric. Always never spray the right side of your fabric. I usually do a little spritz like, but with this, because I'm going to be flipping and folding and I'm not pressing. If you want to press and you want to pull your hoop off of your machine to press each one, and you like that, I want you to do it. But I'm not going to be doing that. So I am going to spray a little bit more liberally than I normally do. So when I press it back, it'll be nice and crisp. You could use a folding pen. Some people do that. You hear that? Yep, that was a little heavier than I normally spray. This is the spray I use, KK100. It is my favorite. I bought a whole bunch of it before new tariffs. Oh, you know what? Actually, this is from Europe. It comes from Europe. And I'm not going to show you that again. When I spray, you're not going to see it. All right, here we go. Let me grab the little bookie book. I feel like, oh, because it is an A and it is a B. Well, let's go ahead. We're just going to do it in this order. So the bottom one, got to look at my instructions to see what the bottom one. Bottom one is the A. And so the block, the first block we're going to do is up here. Whoop. Let me turn down the lighting. Lighting. This is the only time I would ever turn down the lighting on my machine because I want to see everything so nice and bright. But in your settings, maybe you become a YouTube filmer too. I'm going to take that down all the way to like a 2 and see you guys aren't getting that glare anymore. If you have never done this, I would take your screen brightness. I always take mine and I turn mine up to a 6 because I want to see it nice and bright, except for this. I don't want you guys to have the glare. All right, here we go. You're going to put your first piece of fabric down, which is going to be, you finished one block. It was really strange looking until you put it together. Did you say you had a better technique? I think you said you had a better technique. I wonder if you should share that with us. So here's one, and then here's your fabric list. So if you want to write it down, I wrote it with my stuff. But one is 1111 A1. Okay, this is going to be your pink fabric. So this is pink. This is bumblebee. And then this bottom one is going to be your solid. Okay, so just know that one, and it's going to go in order. Once we start laying down, you're going to be like pink, bumblebee, solid. Pink, bumblebee, solid. It's just going to go around in that order, so it shouldn't be too confusing. The very first piece, and we're going to go up here to this block up here, the first triangle that's facing down, you're going to put down your bumblebee fabric and cover the whole thing. And try to make it even. So you have an even amount of fabric all the way around. Just lay that guy down. And now we're going to do our first trim line, which is going to be your placement line, and get a good pair of snips out ready to go.
Jeannie, it's
Yeah.
fabric face up, correct?
Fabric face up. This is the only one that you're going to do fabric face up. The very first one, everything else is going to be fabric face down. Okay? This is your trim line. Go ahead and trim. Trim right to that stitch. And now we're going to do bumblebee. And flip and fold, it's like some of you are really going to struggle with it. And that's nothing wrong with it. It's just for some of you, it's going to be confusing. So just know, very first fabric, face up. All the rest of them are going to be face down. And I sprayed them so they're going to be like nice and tacky. Now this trim line becomes your placement line. And you're going to take your fabric and you're going to put the edge of your fabric right on that trim line. Center it, meaning don't put it over here and don't put it over here. You want to have an equal amount of fabric on either side. And because I put spray when I start stitching, sometimes the foot sticks to it. So have like a stiletto or something that you can like hold the fabric down right here. I'm just going to hit start. Just to hold it down, and I put one finger over here because sometimes it'll stick and then it'll want to stick to the foot.
Finished stitching.
Kind of like paper piecing.
Next red color.
I'm using the same color for all of this
0.
because you're not going to see it, okay? Here, let me see if I can get you a little bit closer, better view. Now I'm going to take this and you're going to fold it back here. Let me bring it towards you. So we're going to take this, because I sprayed it, it's going to be sticky. I'm going to just lay it down. I'm going to give this an aggressive fingernail fold. And then I'm just going to press because I sprayed it, it'll stick. If you didn't spray, I want you to use a little piece of tape and put it down here to hold it back. You want this nice and crisp. So to get that nice and crisp, if you want to, you can slide this off and you can press it. I'm not going to be pressing. I'm just going to be depending on that little bit of stick on here. All right, ready for the next one. Like I told you, I'm not even going to be looking at my manual because it's just going to be the same process. Next thing it's going to do is your trim line. Just go ahead and hit start, stitch your trim line, and then we're going to trim the fabric. And you're going to be using the bigger piece of fabric.
Please thread the machine with the next thread color.
So you see how we're doing this? This is going to be pink floral, bumblebee, solid fabric. And then we'll do pink floral, bumblebee, solid fabric. Here we go. We're going to trim first. Don't put your fabric. Trim your placement line. Or this is your trim line. Your trim line becomes your placement line. Imagine this extends all the way straight. So I'm going to start from right here. Trim line. Now that trim line is your placement line. So grab this fabric, sticky side up, center it to your trim line, which is now your placement line, okay? And just put this down here just to hold it so it doesn't, don't put your finger there. Hold it so the fabric doesn't stick. And then hold it right here at the end.
Jeannie, when
Yeah.
we're cutting it, should we leave like a 1/4 seam?
0.
No, because that line right here, which is now your placement line, when it tacks it down, it tacks it a 1/4 inch away. So that becomes your seam allowance right there. So see underneath it? Underneath it is the placement line. When it tacks it down, it does it a 1/4 inch away. So it gives you your 1/4 inch seam.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Now you're going to take this and fold it back. Give it a nice fingernail press so it's nice and crisp. You have some adhesive on it, just press it down. And now we're ready to do the next one. So it's like a flip and fold, and you're going to be placing the edge of your fabric on the trim placement line. When it stitches it down, it does it a 1/4 inch away to give you your 1/4 inch seam. So we're piecing in the hoop. Piecing in the hoop. I'm calm now. I can sing to you. There, let me calm you too. Anyone need help? How are we doing? We doing okay? Okay, well, we'll take it nice and slow with this one. So we just did pink floral, bumblebees. This is your silky solid, and this is down. Guess what we're gonna do now? You're just gonna hit start. It's gonna do your trim line. So go ahead and let me slide this back on. Hit start, trim line. That same trim line is your placement line.
Finish stitching. Please thread the machine with the next.
I'm gonna turn that off. Here, how do I turn it on? There we
Finish
go.
Stitching.
Okay, I have to hit this stop. Okay, that's your trim line. Let's trim it. You trim it right on that. And see how the stitch doesn't extend? Pretend like it does. And just trim back right on that. Doesn't have to be perfect. That trim line is now your placement line. So now we're going to place, and we're placing the floral. And if it stitches up into that, don't worry about it. I'm just going to take that and just go right up. There we go. Hang on just a second. All right, that's your trim line. Now it becomes your placement line. Not sure I would enjoy my machine. I know it's talking to me. Depends on what it's saying, right? Face down. The only piece that goes face up is the very first one. From here on out, everything is face down. Put this down, center it to that line. So I have about 1/4 of an inch on either side of it. I'm going to go ahead and stitch, and I'm going to go ahead and put this down to hold the fabric so the foot doesn't stick. Don't put your finger there. I'm going to put my finger at the beginning and the end. That's your 1/4 inch seam allowance.
Please thread the machine with
See your 1/4 inch seam allowance? That was your placement line, and then it tacks it down 1/4 inch away. That's your seam. We're going to take this, we're going to fold it back. Give it a fingernail press. If you want to use your Clover folding pen, you can use that too. And I'm just going to go ahead and, if you're not using spray, tape it. I'm going to go ahead and just press it down. It's going to be nice and crisp. What's next? Trim line. So now you're going to go ahead, it's just going to stitch the trim line. No risky behavior. I don't want your finger too close.
pinch stitch. Please thread the machine with the next thread.
That's your trim line. Go ahead and trim. Just pretend like this stitch extends all the way out. Doesn't have to be perfect. What you don't want to do is it's better if you trim a little less. Don't trim into here. You want it like it's a straight line. Or trim this side. Don't trim into that side. Or you're going to be cutting into your seam allowance. And look, I'm not doing it perfect. That's like a 1/16 and 1/8 of an inch. Not worried about it. If you don't have to do it, I would not do shape flex, just because it's going to make it really thick and bulky. When we go to do the quilting, that very center is super bulky. We're going to beat it. You feel like you need to get some aggression out, this is the class for you. All right, we just did our pink floral. What comes next? It's going to be the bumblebee. Just going to go in order. Pink floral, bumblebee, then solid. Okay, center it. Here's your, this is your stitch right there. You're going to center this to that stitch, so you just have a little bit of fabric on either side. And I'm putting the edge of my fabric right on those stitches. There we go. You know what you can do if you don't want this to shadow through? See how that the pink might be a little, you can move this over. See how I kind of pulled it down to cover that, and then when we flip, it won't shadow through. This is the stuff that might shadow through. So if you want to not have that shadow through, just take your fabric, you'll have enough. Just nudge them right over that pink. So when we flip it, it'll be white on white. That'll solve that, okay? It's okay, you'll have enough fabric for that. I'm gonna hold it right here. I'm gonna put my finger right here, so nothing moves. That spray adhesive, one of the disadvantages is sometimes it sticks to the bottom of the foot. So you want to have a stiletto, you want to have something that's not going to be your finger.
Thread color. 0.
Okay, now we can fold that over. You have plenty because it's just covering this little square right here. Or that, I obviously don't know my shapes. Triangle. Whoops, sorry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this over, fingernail press that, and just, there, no shadowing. It'll be white on white. Thanks for asking that question, Michelle, because I have done some of these where there's like shadowing where it's really dark, and you can just solve that just by putting your fabric down a little bit lower. So it'll be white on white. Beautiful. What's next? After your flip and fold, trim line. I'm going to go ahead and just start. How are we doing? I don't want to be going too fast. How are we doing? Should I slow it down a little bit? Okay, trim line. Then you're going to trim. And then that trim line becomes your placement line.
Finish stitching. Please thread the machine with the next.
All right. And pull this back. I can get to it. Let me see if I can get a better angle where you get closer and it's not in my way. There we go. All right, that's your trim line. We're gonna trim up and above. This is where it looked like a hot mess. I know, it does look like a hot mess. All right, just pretend like that line goes all the way out and just trim it the best you can. You might wanna start here because the double layer. Sorry, my arm is hitting the filming arm. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then we'll do this one. Okay, that was your trim line. Now it's your placement line. And we just put down bumblebees, so now we're putting down the solid fabric. I think this is called Suki, which is sun-kissed peach. So we're gonna put this down. Sticky side should be up. Okay, if you don't want this to shadow through right there, just snug them down just a little bit. You have enough for that. Let me slide them back on. I'm gonna put this over here, so I know. I use anything as a stiletto. Anything goes. But you also want to hold down here so that he doesn't move. So right on the very beginning and right at the very end.
Finish stitching. Please.
I'm gonna fold him back. Give it a little finger press, fingernail press, and then smooth it down. And was that it? Yeah, this one's done. Now it's gonna do a outline stitch for the whole thing, okay? So be active and just have like something here so you can put it in if you need to, not your finger. And now it's gonna do a square around the whole thing. That is gonna be your trim line.
Finish stitching. Please thread the machine with the next thread color.
Yay, one down. Not too bad, right? So I am gonna trim some of this away, not all of it, because I wanna have it there in case I need it. So I'm gonna just, you made it look easy. Yeah, I didn't make the beginning of the class look easy. Oh my goodness. Nothing like the blood for the blood pressure. Get that heart pumping. I don't like letting you guys down. I don't like making you wait. I want everything to be perfect for you. So, all right. I'll give you a minute and why don't you, I'm going to have a sip of my coffee and let's go ahead and then we're going to do the next one. It's going to be the same process. So what I want you to go ahead and do is in your little spray tent or whatever you're spraying in, hopefully not just the room and not next to the machine. I'm going to grab two more of these, two of the pinks. That's our first color, two of our bumblebees. Face down, you're spraying the wrong side. And then two of the pinks. I know, if it, I liked doing it the other way. I did color group, but it was like, for me, you know what it is with that? You just have to be able to put down, figure out where the very first fabric is. Because then you're just going in a circle and you're just going in order. Pink, bumblebee, solid. Pink, bumblebee, solid. So if you can, if you're going to color group, if you can just figure out where number one goes on block A, then you're just going to be going in like a circle and you can do that with the bees too. So do two of each for right now. Give it a shot of spray. Be liberal. Because we want it to stick down and we don't want to have to iron. Unless you love ironing. You love ironing, I want you to iron. And now we're ready to do the next one. We have to figure out where the first block is and then we should be good to go.
Jeannie,
Yes.
could you use polymesh sticky back? Do they
Would
make
you
that?
use poly mesh sticky back? I'm thinking, yeah. Yeah, because wouldn't that be nice? Just to yeah, because it calls for poly mesh. So do they make I don't think they make poly mesh sticky back. I think they make fusible. I've
Oh,
never seen
okay.
poly mesh sticky back,
Okay.
but that would be a great new product, wouldn't it? You could do dissolve away. The issue with the dissolve away is don't press it. Because the dissolve away, when you press it, curls up, ruins your project. How do I know? Those are words of experience. All right, we're going to do B. Let's go ahead and do it. First thing it's going to do, look at your screen. If you look at your screen, it has a template. And that's how you know you're on the right thing. Here, let me show you. I know you're getting a side angle right there. There's your template. That's what we're doing first. I'm going to go ahead and hit start. And it is going to stitch out the template first, and then we're going to start laying down. First piece of fabric, it's going to be the pink one, and it is going face up, the only one that goes face up. So grab one of your pink florals. I am going to refer to I forgot my manual, of course. I was like, I think I have it all. Okay, so we're on 7. 7's the one that you need to figure out. And 7's just going to be on the left side. It's going to be the bottom triangle that is facing up. Okay. Now that you know that, everything else should be easy. I like piecing in the hoop. I got to tell you, I miss some traditional piecing. I like it when these blocks are just like traditionally pieced. So this is our, and you know what you can do too? If you find it confusing, get yourself a little, a light pen or something and just write the numbers in so you know where you're going with it, even if you do it the other way. Okay. So we're going to lay this down. You want to cover it as evenly as you can, meaning don't put it up like this where, this goes right to the edge. Like make sure it's as centered as possible. You can feel it. You can feel that little triangle. So I'm going to go ahead and press them down. And guess what we're doing? Trim line. Go ahead and do your trim line. And that trim line is your placement line. So we're going to trim.
Finished stitching. Please thread the machine with the next.
Okay, go ahead and trim. Doesn't have to be perfect. And if you want no shadowing, make sure your fabric covers that whole edge. There you go. We did pink. Bumblebee is next. So you're going to do pink, bumblebee, sun-kissed peach. Pink, bumblebee, sun-kissed peach. All right. And just make sure, think about it. If you put it this side, yeah, you just have to put it where the edge is on that placement line and where it's going to make sense where you're going to stitch it and fold it over. So it's the opposite side of where it's going to get folded over. Put your fabric down. I'm going to go ahead and slide him over. I'm going to move this a little bit so I'm not hitting it. Pick up my pup. She's away from me. Oh, I know. I don't know, but yeah, my dog's like that. Poppy wants to be in my lap when I'm stitching. It is Patrick. Patrick's been like, well, how do I? Oh, you see that? I'm not threaded. Patrick's been like, how do I work? Because she wants to lay and drape over you. I am going to go to the beginning of this because this is your seam allowance. So you saw that my thread wasn't picking up. So let's go over here and I'm going to go, how do you go back stitches? So this is your button where you go forward and backward stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and touch that. To go to the very beginning of your step, just hit your back arrow. This is your forward, that goes forward, this goes back. That'll go to the beginning of that step that we're on. All right. And let's go ahead. Let me get my little tools. I'm sorry, Joyce, I didn't read your whole message. You have to go back to it.
Finish stitching. Please thread the machine.
I know it looks like a hot mess, right? Just trust. Just trust. You're going to trim it. It's going to be beautiful. Nice fingernail press. Fold it back. And it's going to do the trim line. So we're going to go ahead, just hit start, let it do the trim line. I hope I'm not rushing you guys. And what fabric's going to go next? It's going to be our solid.
Finish stitching. Please thread the machine with the next thread color.
I'm using the same color. It doesn't make a difference. It's in the seam allowance, but like I said, don't pick a dark color. Stick to one of the lighter colors. Like, don't do black. All right, I'm going to trim this. That's your trim line. It's now your placement line. Grab your peach fabric. We're going to put it down. It should be the sticky side up. Always the sticky side up, except the very first piece you lay down. When I slide this on, I always hold this so I don't knock it out of calibration. If you ever make this arm move from sliding your hoop on and off, assume you've knocked it out of calibration and just turn your machine off and back on again. That's how easy it is to recalibrate. But if you don't do that and suddenly you're like an inch to the left and an inch too far up, you know you've knocked it out of calibration.
Please thread the
Okay, that's our seam allowance. We're gonna fold our fabric back. Oh, and I can see a little bit of the dark pink. I should have taken that fabric and scooted it down to just cover that dark pink and then it wouldn't shadow through. But I didn't even notice any of that. I wasn't even paying attention until Michelle said something, and then I was like, oh, I should have paid attention to that. Okay, we're laid down. Do the trim line. And what fabric's gonna go down next? Your pink, because we're going in order.
finish stitching.
Pink, bumblebee, peach. Pink, bumblebee, peach. So we're gonna trim. I'm gonna trim the top piece first. This is all gonna go to the right, because this is gonna go down next. This one, and then the big one. Were you guys scared to do this? Hopefully it's getting easy and you're like, oh, that's not that bad, right? It's not that bad. Anna, have you done this before? How's it? Are you scared? Is it easy now? You okay? Were you crying before? Do you need a hug? I'm just kidding with you.
I'm a little slow on this. I had everything kind of back asswards when I was laying it down.
Yeah. Does it make sense now though?
Um, it takes me a while with objects in space. I have a problem with that.
Totally get that. Like I look at this and like when I do it, I'm like, oh, just put it down. And I kind of zoom through it. But I've done like a lot of this with other people where they really struggle. I'm like, I think it's like it is. It's hard to wrap your brain around it and it doesn't quite look right. Like if you look at this to me does not look right. So I want you to just trust in just get that very first one down and just kind of follow it around. And I think it helps if you want to put the numbers in here so you know what order you're going into. So whatever makes sense for your brain, I want you to do it. Okay. I'm very systematic. So I just kind of trust in the process and I just go, okay, pink, bumblebee, solid. And then I know this is the next one. And we're going to go ahead and lay this down on our trim line, which is now our placement line. And just the edge of the fabric, if you don't want the shadowing, you're just going to nudge it over the very edge. This is a darker color than that one, so we're not going to get any shadowing. So I'm going to put it down. You're always laying it down the opposite. If your piece that you're trying to cover is here, it's going to be on the opposite side because you're going to fold it over. So just know that too. All right. No risky behavior. Get your fingers out of the way. Sorry, let me see if I can make that not move. Fingers out of the way.
Finish stitching. Please thread the machine with the next.
Okay, that was your 1/4 inch seam allowance, 1/4 inch from the placement trim line. We're gonna fold it to the right, give it a little fingernail press, and the adhesive, spray adhesive should hold it down. All right, that was your flip and fold. Now we're gonna do the trim line.
Finish stitching. Please thread the machine with the next thread color.
And I'm using the same color for all of this. That's your trim line. You're just gonna trim it and pretend this line extends all the way out and goes all the way up. Okay, this is the next area that we're covering. We just did a pink floral, which means bumblebee is next. So let's get our bumblebee. It's going to be opposite. You're going to lay it down opposite of where we're covering, and you're going to center it to the stitching that just happened. Go ahead and center that. You're not even going to think about this. You're really looking at your placement line. Center it to your placement line. And I do have a little bit of dark pink, so I'm just going to scoot this over that. I'm going to scoot it over so I don't have that pink shadowing through. Let me slide my hoop on. I'll put this right here so my foot doesn't stick, and I'll put my other finger at the other end. I think Kimberbell in their directions has you use tape, but you know me, I'm a sprayer.
Finish stitching.
If I can get away with spraying, I think it's less work. That is your seam allowance. We're going to fold this over, and it doesn't have to be like a perfect 1/4 inch. Like that was more than a 1/4 inch because I covered over the pink fabric so it wouldn't shadow through. Oh my goodness. So I was talking to Kai about how on our drive, do we need to concentrate? Shall I not talk stories because we're concentrating so hard? Okay, let me put this back. We did our flip and fold. Next thing we do is the trim. Trim, trim, trim. And we just laid down the bumblebee fabric, which means we're going to lay down our larger piece of solid fabric. So you're going to do your trim,
Finish stitching. Please.
and then we're going to do our place. So go ahead and trim. So I'm going to tell you this because I thought it was kind of funny, or maybe not funny at all. So we were driving back, and I had watched, before I went out to go pick Kai up, I had watched the Donner Party. It had just come up. It was just like, you know, I was watching PBS, and then I watched something about the Shakers. And this is how I learn all my history because I don't remember anything from high school or college. So there's my trim line, which now after you trim becomes your placement line. So I was telling him I was watching this, and you know, took on new meaning because I was driving by the Great Salt Flats, and then I was in the Wasatch, which they got, you know, hung up on for like a month. Okay, or I think it was like 26 days, or it was a long time. So lay this down. This is the piece that it's covering, so it needs to be on the opposite side. And if you feel like you're going to have shadowing from that, just scoot it down. There. I scooted down to cover the whole thing, so now it's sun-kissed folded over on sun-kissed. All right, I'm going to go ahead and slide this up. And Kai goes, I really don't know that much about the Donner Party. And I said, okay, let's listen to a podcast. And so we listened to the podcast, and when it got to the part where the Donner Party had to eat their favorite dog, he's like, I'm really not enjoying this. I was like, okay, let's turn it off. So then we turned it off, but it was yeah, it can be it was a little bit gory. There was a lot more detail in that than the special that I watched on TV. They didn't talk about the family dogs at all, except about how they kept them warm on the Great Salt Flats because the dogs laid on top of them. All right. Oh my goodness, guess what? Look at your screen and it's going to do the outline stitch around the whole thing. Make sure everything is laying down. If it pushes your fabric and makes it like not flat and beautiful, just stop your machine. But I think ours is just going to stay down. Have like a little tool that you can kind of hold your fabric down with. And even though it might be tempting, don't reach in with your finger. I'm like far away, so I'm okay with it. But poor Kai was so cute. He's like, I'm enjoying this. He's like a child that doesn't like horror movies or anything like that. So then what did we listen to? Then we listened to NPR Radio Lab, and that was so interesting. I have to tell you about the episode we listened to. So these are done. Guess what? We're going to do it again. So hopefully it's going to be easier. We might go a little faster with this one, or we'll go just the same speed. I'm going to rehoop. If you're doing it in your 7x12, you're just going to go ahead and keep going. Okay. Let's turn. And let's rehoop. So we listened to one episode, which was called Everyone's Got One. Hang on. Out of the way. And like, I did not know that. It was about the placenta. Here we go. I will trim this all later. So I'm just going to rehoop. And that one was, I'm going to trim this because I don't want this to get stitched down. So, and don't trim it right to the line. I'm going to trim it just like, whoop, we're sticking. I don't know. What is that? Like a little more than a 1/4 inch, less than 1/2 inch. We'll just do that. And let's go ahead and scoot this up. I'm going to put this right. There's not a, you can put it up. You can hoop. When I hoop this, I just hoop with like a little of this, like right underneath. To me, that's like the perfect amount. And you can always look at your magnets to go, am I using a big magnet or a small? This is a small, this is the big. I'm just going to pop that down. We'll just leave it like that because I don't, what am I going to do with the rest of this? So go ahead and put these on. Looks good. Let's go ahead and we're going to do it again. Gonna slide this on. Everything's loaded in already, so you don't even have to load the design. Fluff your fabric. Make sure the one that we just did isn't folded under. That's what I love to do. I like to stitch it down again and then try and hide it from you because I'm like, I can't show them. Look what I just did. And then I own up to it and I tell you, oh my God, look what I just did. All right. We're gonna do the first one. Does this, I don't think this lets you, because it's one design, it's not gonna let us color group. But wouldn't it be nice if we could? It'll let you color group the other ones where you do the A's first and then you do the B's. But this is one design, it's not two designs, so there's no color grouping option right here. All right, slide the hoop down, let's go. So first thing it's gonna do is it's going to do the placement line, the little template. I'm gonna go ahead and spray 2 of each of the different fabrics. You guys aren't going to see this. I'm just spraying it down.
Decision. Please thread the machine with the next thread color.
Okay, this is the most important placement because everything kind of follows after this. Well, they're all important, right? You want to do the right thing. And you want to do number 1, which is going to be this triangle right here. That is what you're going to cover. You're going to put fabric wrong side down. It's the only one that goes wrong side down, and everything else will be right side up. And try to center it the best you can. And now we're going to do the trim line, placement line. Okay, so this whole show talks about how the placenta, the body grows it, it's the embryos. Like it's not even the mother's body the placenta belongs to, it belongs to the embryo.
2.
I'm going to get rid of that. And how the mother's body fights the placenta the whole time. And the placenta has to fool the mother into thinking that it's not there or it's trying to implant. So the placenta implants into the uterus, and the uterus, they look at that as the foreign body. I just thought the whole thing was so fascinating. So the placenta has this thing that it will shoot into the other parts of the uterus where it's not implanting to try and fool the uterus and the mother's body into fighting the placenta in other areas where it's not implanting. It was fascinating. Okay, I'm going to hold this down. We're putting down our bumblebee fabric. I'm going to hold it down right here on this end so it doesn't stick. You want to hold it down on the right and the left. And this whole time it is
Finish.
trying to fool the mother's body
Thread the machine with the next thread color. 0.
into thinking it's implanting somewhere else. It was just so interesting. I was like, oh my God, I never knew that. You thought that it's this wonderful, hospitable, that the mother's body is like, I am going to grow this child and love it. And the whole time the mother's body is trying to get rid of it. It's trying to not let it implant, which was news to me. All right. So I'm going to go ahead, but it was called, it was an NPR episode, Attach the Embroidery Frame. NPR episode about, and it was called Everyone's Got One. Everyone Has One or something like that.
Jeannie,
Here we go. Yes.
that's why the little babies look like aliens when they first show up.
I know, right? It was just like, I just thought it was so interesting. Kai and I watched that. And the other batting is after, yes, batting is after you sew them together. Are you already on that, Miss Linda? You're like, you guys are holding me up. And then the other one we watched was we watched one about, oh, no, we listened to one. We didn't watch anything. We were driving. And it was about bone marrow transplants, about this woman who she was at a rock concert, like a festival. Okay, remember, pink, bumblebee, and then this color, the solid one, sticky side up, right? and how she, on a whim at a rock concert, signed up to be a bone marrow donor. And then she got a call and was matched up with this guy. Oh, and if you don't want the shadowing, you're going to take your fabric and just put it right over it. You don't have endless amounts. So it's not like you want to go half an inch over it, but you do have enough that you can just go over that much. That's why they look like aliens. And my son was like, I don't understand why she was so excited, like that she was a match. And I was like, she was saving somebody's life.
Finished stitching. Please thread the machine with the next thread color.
I love NPR. There's been times where I've been listening to one and I'm driving home and then it's so interesting. I just sit in my car and finish listening to it. Okay, there we go. Fold it over. So flip and fold, press it down. Now it's going to do your next trim line. Anyone have any questions as I'm doing this? I'm sorry, I'm talking. Let me get back to business. But it made me go, I felt inspired. I was like, oh, maybe I'll become
Please
I'll
thread the machine.
I'll join the donor list. And then I was reading the who they accept, and they don't usually take people that have had cancer. That'd be me. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and trim. Trim line. You're trimming away. Don't trim into your block, away from your block. There we go. What color's next? You guys know? We just did this one, so now we're gonna just repeat. Now we're gonna go pink, bumblebee, and sunkissed. We're gonna lay this down. That is your placement line. You center it to the placement line, which was your trim line. And it's gonna go wrong side up. You're gonna go ahead and make sure, if you don't hold it down, it sticks to the foot and then it moves. And if you don't hold it down on this side, sometimes it moves on that side too.
Please thread the machine with the next.
And then after that, Kai couldn't take anymore. I find it so interesting, but he does not. So then we just did Korean lessons, and we were just learning Korean because I was born here. My parents didn't. I'm not fluent. I'm like conversationally like a 2-year-old. Okay, now we're gonna do our next trim line. Once we do flip and fold, it is trim time. So he and I were doing that, and that was so much fun. He's pretty good with languages, much better than I am. I've always been so envious of people that pick up languages well or easily, or my my mouth just doesn't want to twist and make those sounds. Here, I'm going to put this here. So Miss Cannon. Okay, extend that line. Just keep stitching or trimming it like that trim line just keeps going out. And then we're going to pretend like it went this way. There we go. And look, it's not perfect. It does not need to be perfect. Okay. What fabric goes down next? We just laid the pink floral, so it's going to be bumblebee. Well, we've talked about a lot of different things today, haven't we? Anyone else? And I'm going to pull this down a little bit so it covers the pink. Anyone listening to any good podcasts? I really, he's like, let's listen to something else. And I just didn't even know what to suggest. I know there's so many out there now.
Finished stitching. Please thread the
Okay, bumblebee, fold it over. Nice finger press, liberal spray, just press it down. We're gonna do the next trim line. And if you need to have your book out, have your book out. And you might want to do a step, check it off. Do a step, check it off. Because the instructions and the picture instructions and the written instructions in your book may make more sense to you. So I want you to do whatever is, if you're doing this with me and you're like, I'm so confused, then I want you to do the instructions that you have in your book. I'm just starting out at that one piece, and then I'm just gonna go follow it around.
This would have been so much easier done as a piece block.
Totally agree. Who said that?
Rita.
And they should, I think that, you know what, they should do that as a option, right? Like, here are
Oh,
your
this is-
measurements. This is what you're gonna cut to if you want to do a piece block. And I love it. I love to do just a little bit of piecing here and there.
Well, I
Because
have
after,
done more unstitching
oh
on this little piece
no,
that, oh, it's not funny.
am I
It's just not
confusing
funny.
you?
Well, I'm I should say I'm in that state normally, but I'm not on a brother, so half of what you do, it doesn't work on my machine anyway. But yeah, I just made a mess. So I'm gonna
Oh, I'm so sorry. You know what? I will put something in there, like, or I think Kimberbell listens to your suggestions for stuff. I would send a note in and I'll say something to my rep because I feel like they really work hard to have great instructions for you. Where it would be nice to have the option for just pieced instructions too for this. Because I totally get it. I would do this as a piece block all day, every day. That's the last piece. It's going to just do an outline stitch around the whole thing. So just go ahead and hit start. I'm sorry you're ripping out. I totally get it. I guess you could do the measurements and figure it all out, like what size you need to do. A lot of these, the pinwheels, like, I don't know if anyone did, the first time I ever pieced, because I started out as just an embroiderer, was
finished stitching.
it was the make yourself at home. Was that it? The big quilt with the armchair and all of that stuff. And they had these were just the pinwheels. They were all just traditional piece blocks. And that was the first time I ever pieced. I was like, I love this. They do not supply any extra fabric for this. Oh, it would make sense to have the option for regular piecing. Yes, I think they would listen to that. So, because that would be a nice option for those of you that don't want to piece. Some of you love this. There's some people who do this and they love it. They're like, oh, it's so much fun doing a piece block. And then there's some of you who are like, I would just piece this the traditional way.
Now, see, I have done this one time before
Yep.
on a Kimberbell one, but it's been so long I didn't remember. But I watched your video yesterday.
Yeah.
So kind of seeing it all the way through first, I was like, oh yeah, now I remember. And
Yeah.
I'm all done sewing mine all together because I used your method you used yesterday.
Oh, we did the where we color grouped. We color grouped and then
Double-
and then that was faster. So and I get it can be confusing, but that way was faster because you were doing your A's all at once. We were laying it all down at once. So this is taking longer. So do you prefer this, Cindy? Like, you don't mind it?
No, I like doing it the way you did it yesterday. And that's the
Yeah.
way I did it today because I already had it set up and ready to go.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's how
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
and I don't like piecing.
yes. Yeah, like exactly. There are some people that don't like the piecing. So this way it's slower. Like it only took me what, like an hour and 20 minutes or an hour, maybe just a little over an hour to do it the other way. We're full on into this, and then you guys had to wait for me because I was having all those technical difficulties. So it's not, I think color grouping does make it a lot quicker. But even with that said, I personally would still have done this. I would have just pieced it. I just pieced it the traditional way. Okay, we have to look at this and we have to figure out which one is our first one, which is number 7. And I've already forgotten, so I'm going to go ahead and look here. Number 7 is going to be on the left side. I'm used red, white, and blue scraps to experiment, so I'm so easily confused. So this one right here is going to be this block. So we're going to lay down our first piece, pink. Remember, we're going in order. Pink, bumblebee, solid. Pink, bumblebee, solid. So this one goes face down. It's the only one to go face down. Go ahead and hit start, and then we're going to trim.
Finish stitching.
But I always send suggestions to my rep. My rep is Barbie. I'm always like, hey, Barbie. And she's always so sweet to be like, okay. And I'm like, I wonder if she even, I wonder if she even, you wonder, when you give a suggestion, I'm sure they hear lots of stuff. So, but I think it's worth it to like give them the option. I feel like they're so great with their instructions, and options are good.
Jeannie,
Yes,
what was that clover pin you were talking about?
there's a Clover folding pen. Hey, Lori. Lori? Okay, Lori's not there. When she is there, I'll have her bring one over. Oh, I might have one back here. We usually keep one back here. Where are you, folding pen? Honestly, like, I don't know what solution they put in there. Might be like a little bit of starch.
Are you looking for something?
Folding pen, the Clover folding pen. Can you grab it off the wall?
On the wall folding pen?
Yes, it'll be like you put like the solution in it. It's like a little squeeze thing. So, okay, I'm gonna fold this back. Are you using the folding pen, Miss Cindy? You put a little solution in it. So you would just put it like, you would just squeeze it right along here, and then just, it folds so easily and it holds.
I got
Susan loves the folding pen.
I got a concentrate of that stuff once and filled the pen with the concentrate.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And then what happened? It was just too much?
Then I figured it out and I tried to dump it back in.
Yes, I know, because look at the little bottle. So this is the little pen. It has a little tip on there. So you fill this with this and you do dilute it. I'm glad you said that because I'd forgotten. I think I did that first because I don't read instructions. And you would just put it here and it just folds out so easily.
You just
I
put a
didn't see
couple
that.
of drops in the pen. Just put a couple of drops and then add water.
Yes, a couple of drops. And did you see Joanny just wrote that she puts a little best crust? Because I think that's all this is. It's a little starch, some kind of starch in there. So you can put it in there, you fill this up, and then anytime you can just put it right on where you're going to fold, and it just folds over so easily and it holds nice and crisp. All
So
right.
that's similar to the pen that you use for paper piecing.
I don't know because I don't have a pen for paper piecing, but yeah, probably. You could use that one. I think people use that one for paper piecing. Which one do you use? The acorn? Does it have like a little tip?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be similar.
Finish stitching. Please thread the machine with the next thread color. 0.
Got it. All right, trim. And you guys know the fabric that's next. And if this is confusing for you, not good to do when you're with your friends, right? And no drinking in doing this. And none of the other stuff that we know you partake in while you're doing this. Concentrate, ladies. Ladies and gents, concentrate. And put this right here, one finger here, one on the right, one where it does your little tack down and start. Once it's secure here, you can go and just hold it on the other side.
Thread the
Fold it back. Little press right here, fold it back, and then we're gonna do trim line. Did somebody have a question?
Finished stitching. Please thread the machine with the next thread.
Thumbing arm.
0.
I'm falling over. Why is this falling over? Okay, we're falling. Let me move this over. There we go. All right, let's trim. Okay, once you're done, go ahead and we're gonna heat up our irons. We're gonna press and then we are gonna trim. Not to make you sick. Other side. Okay, you're gonna put down your pink floral. Put one finger here, one over here. I know, right? Well, I think it walks you through.
Stitching.
Like when you're doing stuff like, let's say you're gonna be doing,
0.
edge to edge, or you're gonna be doing auto split quilt sashing. It's like some people are better with audio, some people are better with visual, some people are better with, who knows? So it just gives you another option, and if you don't like the audio, you can just turn them off. Plus, you can put on like a really like nice French speaking. They should have accents, like English speaking with a French accent. English speaking with whatever accent you guys like. I'm gonna go ahead and trim this. And now we're gonna do Bumblebee, right?
You know, Jeannie, if you change it to a different language, it
Yeah,
might be a good way for you to learn a new language in sewing.
I know, right? I had somebody that like changed their language, but they didn't speak it, and then they were like, "Help me! I can't change it back." So make sure you speak it. But yeah, it would be a good way to learn. So make sure you hold it where it's going to tack it down, and then at the opposite end too.
Finished stitching.
I know I should be listening in Korean.
Next thread.
I don't know if Korean was even an option.
Now I'm hearing it say finish stitching and change thread color. Does it
I'm
just
I'm ignoring it. What was that?
does it just keep going anyway, or does it make you hit the thread button or anything?
No. You can ignore it.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm just ignoring it. But there's sometimes some steps where you might want to really listen to it. It's kind of like it's me and Patrick. Like I'm the machine, and Patrick is just fast forwarding through what I'm saying. I'm panicking. Listen to me.
Thread the machine with the next thread color.
And I'm not even changing like the next thread color. Here we go. Trim. It's your trim placement line. Oh yeah, I think I have the option. I have the option, but I just haven't turned him off. I can turn him off in yeah, because he wasn't on my other, he's not on at home. Let me go into my volume, but I want my volume on just in case there's something else. Okay, there's my last piece. Big one across from, and pulled up a little bit just so I don't have that. Let me center it. So I don't have anything dark shadowing through. Centered. Here we go.
Jenny, can I just ask, is it a different color that comes up on the screen every time you put a new piece in?
I don't even know because I haven't even been looking. I'm gonna say okay here. And let me go back here. We are on step number 23, but let me go up arrow. Oh yeah, yes. You know why? Because when you do Kimberbell, they do turquoise as your placement and orange as your tack down. Turquoise as your placement, orange as your tack down, and then they also usually do the quilting is usually done in green. So yes, they do have different colors for this, but we're not doing them.
Price, I've never sold one yet.
I
And
think it's in the
it's just-
system as is it like DMC or something? Maybe it's like, yeah, I don't remember. I'd have to look it up.
It's in, down there for sale, so would it be what, 30% off that?
You can do it at 40.
40.
Hi, baby.
You're panicking?
No, I was not panicking. I was just pretending.
Please spread the machine.
Thank
with
you.
the next spread
Why
color.
would you pretend?
0.
Because we were talking about how you
Oh, I
sometimes,
fixed everything in your life.
no, sometimes you ignore me.
But you're always panicking.
We are done. Last step we're gonna do is we are gonna do the outline stitch and then we're gonna go ahead and press and trim.
What
So
would you like for lunch?
whatever you're getting.
Kim's chicken sandwich.
Oh, I love that.
All right, chicken.
I don't know what happened here. I don't know if you see that. I think I was talking and I must have trimmed something wrong. I don't know if you noticed that, but I have a little spot here where I don't have any fabric. And I hope I wasn't leading you astray because I was talking about like placenta and bone marrow. But there's a little spot here where there is no fabric. So I don't know what happened. I'm not worried about it because we are going to be trimming to this line and then we're going to be sewing a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So it's going to come in a little bit, but hopefully I didn't do, I start to feel like I'm on a roll and then I'm not paying attention, but I think, pink. Yeah. So I'm sorry about that. Not sure why I'm missing that little corner, but it's not going to make a difference. So it's okay. All right, let's get ready to press and trim. I want you to go ahead and heat up your irons. That happened to me. I had nothing in the 1/4 inch seam allowance. Yeah, that is, I think I was, okay. No more talking, Jeannie. No more talking. Only sewing. Here we go. Did you see what happened? I made a mistake like that. It was covered when I put the pieces together. Yeah, not even sure what happened, but it's okay because you have a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So it's going to get put into the 1/4 inch seam allowance. Maybe I laid my fabric down wrong. Maybe I laid it skinny instead of, I did hamburger instead of hot dog. So I'm going to leave this because I am going to go ahead and I'm going to do my quilting in this one. And we're going to go ahead and press these and trim these. So I'm going to go ahead and press them. I like to press from the back side. And I'm just going to do little, I am not a presser. I am bad at just putting my iron down. I am an ironer. I like to do this and just all over the place, but I'm going to just do like little bits here and there. So let me go ahead and press this. I like to use a little bit of water in a spray bottle, which I'm not seeing back here. So I'll just use a little bit of best press, but moisture is your friend. Should I be crawling under the table at this point? I need to get over here. Let's see. Okay, you're gonna see my badonkadonk as I try and stretch to get up here. I'm sad that they didn't make these. These are like one of my favorite spray bottles, and I like that they were kind of like short and stout because, like, I knock over my other one all the time. So I'm gonna use this. Just a little bit of moisture from the back. And then we're gonna piece. So I'm gonna go ahead and convert my sewing machine to embroidery. I'm sorry. I'm going to convert my embroidery to sewing. And we'll just give it, and I'm going to press it from the back and the front. Just a little bit, just to flatten it out. And that muslin just presses down so nicely too. That's another reason I like to use it instead of the no-show mesh.
After this part, we're going back to embroidery, correct?
We will, well, yeah, we're gonna piece these together and then we will go back to embroidery just to do the quilting. And that'll be nice and fast. All right, that's ready to go. Rotating mat. I love my rotating mat. I use the Martelli one. I also have the Sue Daly one because my little mini one is my Sue Daly. So I love that one too. And the ruler that I thought was perfect for this was the Creative Grids, the 4.5 by 4.5, or if you have a 4.5 by 2.5. Where's my bag? I covered it up. I'm going to use that one. What do I have in here for cutting? I have a clover cutter. Okay. Let me do this so I have a little room that I can look down on. And I'm going to read the instructions before last thing I want to have you do is like cut it apart and then it's wrong. So we are on this step right here. So we're going to cut our B's and our A's, and it's 2.5 by 4.5. So this ruler is pretty perfect because I can get 3 cut, and then I'm going to have to fix it. But sometimes I don't want to have all of this in the way, so I'm going to just cut these apart. Whoop. Just threw that on the ground. All right, and I'm going to fussy cut to this. I'm also going to, so here's my 2.5 by 4.5. I have this white line here, and that white line is going to give me, is that right? Yes. Is that right? I'm going to put that white line. Yeah. So that white line is going to be the half of this. So, that one, that too. So yeah, this white line, and can you see it? That'll give you the half mark. So you're going to put that, this is your half right here. So get the white line, if you have this ruler, the white line on the center, and then make sure that everything else is, you're as close to the line as possible, but this, it's fabric. It's not a piece of paper. It's very rare that you're going to be cutting right on that outline because it's not going to fit. So I'm going to put my white line right on there first. And this way, from here to 2.5. I'm probably confusing the heck out of you, but.
Little.
Yeah, I know, I'm sorry, Michelle. So there's my 2.5. So from here to here is 2.5. And then that white line is the center. And then I'm looking at the other ones, but I'm going to focus here on that. And I'm looking over here on the side. So I'm going to scoot it over to the right a little bit. Okay, I'm good. I'm going to do 3 cuts. I'm doing that cut. I'm going to hold it while I rotate. Don't let go because it's all going to move. I'm going to do that cut. And I'm going to do the last cut. Okay. Then I'll do this final one. This was a little askew, so I'm focusing right there on that being my center that I'm going to build off of. And then I'll do my last cut. Here's 2.5 over here, so it should be. Here's my 1 to 2.5. Two and a half, 2.5, 2.5. Okay, there we go. So I know it's not totally perfect here and here, but I went off of this line and that's what we're going to sew to right here. So I think that's the most important one, is that center line that you go from that. All right. Let's go again. Let's do the next one. Gonna lay it down. That is my center line that I'm gonna focus on. And then I'll focus left to right. 2.5 to the right side. And fussy cutting to the outline stitch the best I can. Like I'm right on it here. I'm a little bit under here. I'm a little bit over there. All right, I'm going to do 3 cuts. There we go. 1, hold the whole thing and rotate. Okay, I'm going to do my last cut.
So each side half should be, once you're done cutting, 4.5 by 2.5.
Yes. Yeah, you're basically fussy cutting to that last outline stitch that it did. But it don't cut right on that line. Cut to your ruler. You want to cut to the ruler because it'll never be perfect on that line.
Okay, I'm gonna start cutting.
Okay, do it. I believe in you. Okay, here's from this edge to here is my 2.5. I'm going to focus on that white line and put that down on the center first, and then I will look around it and make sure it fits as best as it can. Okay, that looks good to me. I'm going to do my 3 cuts all the way around it, and don't let go the entire time you're cutting. And then we can let go for that last cut. Or you might have a 2.5 by 4.5 inch ruler. My last one, we're going to sew, and then we'll quilt. Sew and quilt. Okay, where's my center? Whoop. Center over left and right. Let me snug it over to the right a little bit. Okay, gonna do 3 cuts. All right. There we go. And now we're gonna sew it together. I did line this up with some Wonder Clips. And dropped one, I threw it on the ground. You wanna look at your little example and make sure that lines up and looks like a little pinwheel. So we need a triangle that goes like this and a triangle that goes down. That's going to be this right side. And then you need, let's see if this is right. Nope. Yep, triangle like this and like this. And we're going to sew it together right down there on the center, okay? Get your other one put together. This one, triangle, triangle, and triangle, triangle. And it should look like that. I always sew on the right hand side. So I always fold mine over and I clip on this side. I'm going to fold this one. When I line it up, so I'm always going to fold over here on this side, but I am going to line this up and I'm going to fold it back and make sure that center line is right on top of the other center line. I'm going to do this. I'm going to fold this back just like this. I'm going to make sure those 2 center lines. So I need to scoot it over just a tad, a touch. That looks beautiful. Kind of do this without showing you my unmanicured hands. I'm sure you enjoy looking at Michelle's hands better. She always has a beautiful manicure. And mine looks like the witch that lives in the forest. Someday I'll have beautiful hands too. But for now, just like that, okay? And then I'm gonna put it right here so I know I'm gonna sew on the right hand side, and you know I'm sewing on the side that's clipped. So let's do this one too. I brought my 1/4 inch sole with my jewel feed, but before I sew this, I'm not gonna trust that it looks perfect. I'm gonna just fold this back. Ooh, it is perfect though. Right there, and I'm looking at this line right here, making sure that's totally straight. Looks perfect. I'm gonna clip. I'm not a pinner, and when you're going through this many layers, I feel like the pins shift your fabric. Like it can make your fabric move, so I'm gonna clip. One more clip now. One more clip, one more clip. Here we go, clippy clip. Okay, I'm gonna sew. Let's switch over. So I just have my regular Filtech bobbin. I'm just going to leave that in the bottom. And I like to piece with Deco Bob, but guess what? I forgot my Deco Bob. I'm realizing that right now. Why is this? Ugh. So I'm just going to use, oh, we should have Deco Bob here. Deco Bob, I don't know where it is. I'm just going to piece with my peach thread in there. I'm just going to leave my bobbin, and it's just polyester thread. And let's switch over to sewing. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go to, yes, cancel. Let's go to sewing.
The carriage of the embroidery unit.
That's kind of like, shh, shh. You're just shushing him. I'm going to do straight center stitch with my 1/4 inch sole. Let me go ahead and plug it in. Here he is right here. And should I already switch my stitch length? I know this is like through layers, but I'm going to go to 2.0. I just like my stitches really close together when I'm doing this stuff. So this is the advanced screwdriver. We sell 2 of them. If you are in a high shank machine like mine, you want the advanced screwdriver. It's the NADS. If you have a low shank machine where it screws on lower, then you want the other one that's blue. So the one that we sell in the store, they're no longer green. They're like a dark, it's like a charcoal gray, like almost black. And just from the back side, put it on, hand tighten it, then always tighten it a little bit more. There. You should never just hand tighten any of your feet. You should always use a screwdriver, and you need to plug it in. There's a little plug. Plug them in. I'm using the 1/4 inch. And the 1/4 inch, it'll be a 1/4 inch from the center needle when you're on stitch 103. So just do a center straight stitch. We're ready to go. And I'm going to go ahead and take that first one out. Put down. Oh, I have no foot. I'm not good at sewing without a foot.
Jeannie,
Okay, I'm gonna slow. Yes.
when I cut it, I'm cutting next to the outside stitch outline. That's a 1/4
Yeah.
inch.
Can you see I wasn't even like, there's still a little bit left. Like on some parts, I'm right on it. On some parts, I'm not. But for most of it, like this, I'm pretty close to it. I'm a little bit outside because I'm cutting to the 2.5 by 4.5 measurement, and I'm not cutting directly on the line.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, I don't have my foot control. So I'm gonna go ahead and, no, can't do it. I was gonna do it without, but I just can't. I'm just not a start-stop girl. I'm uncoordinated. And what happens is when I use the start-stop, next thing you know, I'm right off the fabric and I'm panicking. You know me, I like to panic. Okay, I just plugged in my foot control. I am gonna back stitch this. You shouldn't do a ton of back stitching with your dual feet on, but just a little bit's okay. Pull that out. Do a little back stitch right there and cut and take a peek before I believe it looks good. And that looks good to me, right? Pretty good. Okay, gonna put it to the side because we are gonna press. Heat up your iron, heat it up now. Let's do this one next. Sometimes I'll just hold it here before the foot engages. Not where I'm fighting. I never will hold it once the bead dogs and the belt are engaged, but right in the very beginning. Do a little back stitch right here. When you get finished, will you show how to, oh, I missed it. I'm gonna have to look for that. And there we go. Looks good, right? Okay. Oh, did I forget my pressing bar and all of that? No, it's in my bag. Hang on. Hang on. I brought my clapper to beat my seam. I want you to think of someone you're very angry with, and that's going to be your seam today. No, just kidding. Just kidding. We don't do that. Am I heated? I can heat it up. All right. I did bring my round pressing bar, hopefully. And I brought a clapper. I forgot my spray bottle with water in it, which is something I want. I don't put water in my iron. I just don't do it because it just gets icky. So I'm going to go ahead and just press this open. I'm just giving a little finger press. Don't press it to one side because it's just too thick. There's just too much going on. And if you want to, like, honestly, if you want to clip a little bit from that center, you could, but I just put it on my machine. Everything stitched out beautifully, so I'm just going to leave it. And I'll just use some best press. I like the pressing bar because I like the idea of it just pushing that seam up towards you and the fabric just spreading down more. And then I did clapper it, but I did take this and I was like, I saw somebody mallet their fabric before. And I was like, oh, does that make it even flatter? So I was beating it. I don't even know. There. But I did. I took it and I just beat him down even more. Looks pretty good. Does anyone ever mallet their seams? I don't know what I was watching, and she was beating it with a mallet, and I was like, "My God, I'm gonna do that," because sometimes those center seams, and I know there's ways of trimming them. I just don't know how to do it, so I'm not showing you but this thing right here, it's like I'm gonna beat it down even flatter. That made sense to me. Oh yeah, totally flat.
My sister used to take a hammer and a rock and beat the seams on jeans when she would hem jeans for her kids.
It makes sense. Like I just beat him. He is so flat right now. I was like, oh, and I did that. I think I did it in my video. I think I didn't beat him with that. I just beat him with this, and he is so flat. Yeah, beat it. Ladies, beat that seam. Okay. So that's perfect. All right. Those are done. We're going to do our last step, which is going to be to quilt it. And I did do mine one at a time. So I'm going to grab my 5x7. And Miss Lori was nice enough to cut some more fabric for me. I had her cut it 10 inches, but I think you could get away with like 9.5. All right, I'm gonna put this in. Big one on top. Big one down at the bottom. You're gonna convert this back over. And if you feel like you would have liked to have done this traditionally, I want you to send a note to Kimberbell and say, would it be possible? Or just a suggestion. Would it be possible to add just the instructions to just do regular piecing too? For me, I want like efficient and best outcome. So I personally, I think I would have just done it traditionally. So here's the one that is done. All right, it's thick here. If you get a needle that you could go ahead right now and just put in a 9014 needle. I did it with my 7511 and it worked. It was like a little iffy. It was like, dunk, 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 dunk. I was like, is it gonna break? And then it didn't. So then I did it again with this one. If your needle breaks though, just do a heavier needle. We're gonna go ahead and stitch these out. Go back to the machine. I'm gonna tidy up just a little bit and we're gonna get our design. And I'm going to change out my foot. I'm going to move this so I have a place to sit. And I think I printed my sheet out. I updated the spreadsheet. So here we go. And the design that we're using is, we'll see you later, Susan. So we are doing part A, part B. That's done. Where are you? Where are you, last page? Here we go. It is spring 6, 4x4. Let me change this out. And we're going to do spring 6, 4x4. Oh, my foot. I bring my own stuff because I just don't know where everything is. And then sometimes I forget stuff here though. So foot is out. Let's put on the regular embroidery foot. Ooh, I don't know why that looks so separated. What was it? Spring home button embroidery. Spring 6, 4x4. Spring 6, 4x4. Where are you? Right here. Has that little, oh, I called him a butterfly. He will be a butterfly someday, but for right now, he's a little caterpillar. All right, I'm going to scoot him up. So we're not changing anything with him. I'm going to put embroidery. I'm still using the 5x7 hoop, so I'll leave that outline right there. And I'm going to go, let's put our hoop on. Because if your hoop is on, it will not go outside of that embroidery field, which is really, really nice. And then I'm going to scoot the design all the way up to maximize the using the muslin. Whoops, let's go here. We want to go layout, and these are our move keys. They're going to go move. I'm just going to scoot it all the way up. Okay. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to go in here so we can go forward and backward stitches. And let's talk about what we're going to skip. So the first one is placement for your batting. The second is tack down for your batting. The third is placement for your background. We are going to start with that. We're going to skip these first 2 steps. So let's get our spray tent. I know I make such a tremendous mess so quickly. You're like, how'd she do that? Like, how'd she make that mess? It is my talent. Where did I put my spray tent? Here we go. What I want you to do is I want you to spray your batting, because this is going to be the perfect size to lay down in that placement stitch. And you can do all of it if you want, but I find this easiest. So you want the batting to go right side up. That's the side. See how one side is kind of lumpier? That's your wrong side. We're going to spray this side. So go ahead and spray both of them. We'll just prep both of our pieces right now. And it doesn't have to be crazy. And you're going to put it in the center of the back of your piece. I don't, I'm not looking at this and going, this is right side up or that is. I'm just putting it right in the center. Okay.
I don't care.
I don't care. Did you hear
Just want
Pash?
to get through it.
Okay. And it's centered, pretty centered. I don't know if it's perfect. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. We're going to put the other one in this one. This is just the way I found it to be easiest. You don't have to do it like this, but easy. You know me. Lazy sewist. So I want it to be the best result with the least amount of work. Okay. We're going to spray it again because we're skipping the step for your batting as long as it's cut to size. And then we're skipping the step for the tack down for the batting because it just would like push it around. The only step we're doing is the placement for the background. We're going to stitch that and we're going to put this whole thing down. And then we're going to skip the tack down for this because the foot's just going to push around here and get stuck. And we're going to go to the quilting. So we're doing 2 steps. Step 3 and step 5. So I'm going to go ahead and spray these. I want you to spray it again kind of liberally because we want these edges to kind of stay down. So a lot of times I do a little spritz. When I do this, I give it a good little spray. And I am using anti-glue needles. My 7511 needles are my favorites. Here we go. So, hang on. We're going to go here. Right here, we're skipping this step, and we're skipping this step. We're going to step number 3. How do I know I'm on step number 3? You're going to see step 3 of 5. And you're going to see this. It should be turquoise. That is the placement stitch for your background. Go ahead. I still have my peach in. I'm just going to leave it in there.
Finish stitching. Please thread.
Now I have this already with my batting on it, and I'm just going to place it right inside the square. The best I can. All right. And I like having that spray, so maybe the edges will stay down. We're going to skip the tack down for the background because it really is going to go around the edge and it's just going to push the foot and make a big mess. So let's skip the next step. I'm sorry about that glare. Can you see? Can you see? There. Oh, there we go. So I'm going to get rid of this and I'm going to skip the next step and you should see the quilting, right? And whatever color you want to do. And you can, by all means, do every single one of these steps. You do not have to be skipping things and pressing down stuff like I am. But we want to do it the easiest with the best result. So I'm going to put in my linen thread. I'm going to quilt with that. You could leave the peach in or do whatever color you want. I'm going to put this in right now. And then we're just going to do the quilting stitch. And then we're going to repeat. We're going to rehoop and just do it again. Repeat, repeat. Like if you were just doing this and not doing what we're doing, then your batting would be cut bigger. You would just be laying it down. You'd be trimming it. And then you do the placement stitch and lay the fabric down. Okay, good time to have a stiletto or something just in case you lose control. So I'll just grab this. This is the Bianni's one, okay? And I'm just gonna go ahead and do the quilting stitch. It's gonna be so gorgeous. you're gonna press one more time and we're gonna trim around it, so. Don't worry about it being puffy anywhere unless it's like totally pushed around. Don't have to worry about the foot scooping anything. It doesn't get that close to the edge. This is where it's going to head into the middle where you're going to be like, I'm glad I beat it. Because it is thick in the center. That's when I started to worry. I'm like, is it going to be okay? And it was fine. But you'll hear it. If your needle breaks, just go up a size. And we're done. That was it. Great. Let's rehoop. We're going to do the next one. Easy peasy, right? Rehoop, rehoop. It's time to rehoop. All right, I'm going to scoot him up. And where we're trimming on this is going to be right around it. So you don't need. You don't need to watch for the fabric around it. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. We're just going to repeat what is on that page. So you don't even have to worry about moving the design at all. He's already scooted all the way up to the top. I think I pulled him a little too far over. But I never really worry about it too much because the stuff is malleable. Hang on, let's start over. Be a little careful, Janie. And if you don't have these hoops, don't worry. Just be using your regular hoop. Just pop them in. Just pop them in. All right. I just love these hoops. They're kind of what I use almost all the time now. I think my issue is I've been bending this arm. There we go. Fluff it. I still have this one on. You can cut it off if you want, but just make sure he doesn't get curled under and stitched down. And we're going to repeat. We're going to skip. We're going to start with step 3. So we're not doing all our steps. We are going to do step 3. So this is, we're already in the screen where we go forward and backward stitches. That's step 2. That's step 3. Step 3 is the placement line for your background fabric. Yours is already pressed. Batting is already on. You're just going to lay it down. And if you want, you could do step 1, put your batting down, skip step 2. Don't do the tack down for the batting because the foot just kind of scoops underneath it, makes a big old mess. So do step 1 and step 3 if you want. I'm going to just lay this down in here, and then we're going to skip step 4 because it's just going to push around my top piece, make a mess, make me angry. And we're going to go to the quilting stitch. So I just laid this down right inside of the placement line stitch. Most of the time we don't do that. You do that when you're doing filler blocks. When you do filler blocks, you do the placement stitch for the filler block fabric. Here we go. So I'm going to skip the next step. That's the tack down for my background piece, but I laid it right in there. We're going to do this, which is the quilting. Whatever color you want. I just left my linen in. There you go. Hopefully you beat that center seam. He's thick. And then we're going to press one more time and we'll trim and we're done with these 2 blocks. We'll see you, Miss Renee. Thanks for joining us. I'm sorry about the rough start. I almost feel like just plan on a rough start as long as I'm trying to use these cameras. Seems like we've had more rough starts than non-rough starts. Yeah, I didn't mirror image the quilting, but you're welcome to do that. Okay, heat up your iron. Heat it up. We're gonna press and trim and then we're done. All right. Yes, we are. Let me move this out of the way. Let me grab this. Aren't they cute? Just sweet. Embroidered blocks look so good when you mix them. Well, the ones that are supposed to look pieced. I like a traditional block with the embroidered block. All right. I'm just gonna cut this guy off. Don't cut right to that stitch yet. We always want to press it before we do our final trim. Move this before I accidentally press on it. That's something I would do. Just gonna give him a little wiggle. Just to where it's dry. And if you want to give him a little press from the front, you can. So now I'm gonna full on use that ruler, which is, my ruler is 4.5 by 4.5. If I can find it. We're gonna trim around this. Now you have your centering marks. So center your marks. You're gonna have, I have my black one that goes this way, and then I have my white one that goes the other direction. So here's my black 2.5 and my white one that goes around. And I'm doing both of my center marks, and I'm gonna take my rotary cutter and I'm gonna trim all the way. Oh, wait a minute, I'm on the wrong one. Good thing I didn't cut. There we go. So this also has like a little round circle, and that is my center. Okay, looks good. Hold it. You've got to be really careful because that bump in the center sometimes makes it so your ruler doesn't lay flat and it moves. You guys know what I'm talking about. It kind of spins on the top. So be extra careful because this is the end, my friend. We did all this work. You want that ruler to stay in place. And that block is done. Isn't that sweet? This one, I looked at it, I was like, oh my God, I messed it up. Because it just looks like kind of a square of the pink. It didn't look like a pinwheel to me. So I had a panic, and then I got over my panic, and I looked at it again, and I was like, oh no, that is right. Because you know that's one of my hobbies, panicking. I enjoyed to do it. I enjoyed doing it several times a day. Okay, that looks good. Looks good, my friends. Let me look one more time. Okay. Ta-da! And we are done. I wish they'd give us like half of the, like we could start sewing it together. I just love sewing it together when I can. And there are your gorgeous pinwheels. There we go. You did it. Any questions? I will render this video and then I will send it to you. And this is my one for my Minky Kim. I really like this, that you can see that pinwheel more in this one. This with the light. I can see the orange one, but I really like the way that one looks. And that is it. We will do our June. I don't think I put June up yet, but June, we'll do that probably the first Friday. I have to look at the calendar and I'll get that up and I'll get that stitched out soon so I can tease you and tell you how cute it is. But anybody have any questions? Are we good to go? I think Judika looks like she's good to go. All right.
I'm in a good
Well then,
mood. So have a nice weekend.
yeah, you guys have a great weekend. It was great spending the day with you. Thank you so much for your patience with me getting it all together at the very beginning of class. I'm glad you stuck it out. Miss Diana, what time is it there? What time do we have in Australia? Is it, I think, early in the morning or late? Well, have a great day, guys. And I will see you for the next sew along. Bye. Let me see if I can stop let me see if I can end it here.